Hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Feels good to be back on stream. I feel like it's been so long since we've been on stream together. I know it's been like what, a week or so. I remember we used to stream like 3 times a week, and we kind of slowed it down a little bit. But it's always nice to be back live with you all. Hey, Somnio, how you doing? How's your week been so far, Somnio? Hey, Namiria. Namiria, you've been pretty good with the content you've been posting, and been pretty consistent too. Congrats with that. It's definitely gonna pay off because you have been like really, really, really consistent with it. Hey, Graphical. Glad to have you back, still alive. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I honestly like, I'm not even really that big of like a Braves fan. Well, I wasn't. I've always been like a Yankees fan because my dad was raised in New York, but obviously like living in Atlanta and being raised in Georgia, definitely I feel like recently been a lot bigger fan, honestly. Yeah, for sure. That's all we can do, Namiria. You have any plans? You guys have any plans for the weekend? And also, if you all don't know, shortly we are going to bring on a professional painter, like I was telling you all last week, as well as early this week. And I'm excited for you all to learn from him, get some advice, and yeah, just ask questions that you guys have been patiently waiting to ask, and learn. It's always good to get knowledge like this, and this is why we do things like this here in the garden, for people, even if they can't make the live stream, to always have the content to go back to and learn, which knowledge is one of the most important things we can have in life. So glad you guys can definitely get that. It's going to be a good experiment. Yeah, got to figure out how I'm going to do the digital style of content. Yeah, I'm excited for you to mess around with the digital stuff, because I know you mostly do traditional work, so really interested in that. Also, how's my volume with the mic as well as the music? What are you going to be drawing, Somnio? Yeah, for sure. I agree. Okay, awesome. 2 skeleton embrace. Yeah, awesome. That'll definitely fit the garden challenge, which I'm pretty sure we have like a decent amount of people posted on there right now for the challenge. Let's see. Sometimes it takes a while to load, but I know there's like, I think like 15 or something on there. Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to see. I'm really interested, just from like the posts that have been made on here. I'm really interested to see who's gonna win. I feel like I always have an idea and then I'm always wrong. So, well, awesome. So let's get started here. We're gonna bring on the professional painter James Overstreet, which I am really excited for you all to meet and hear from. So yeah, let's bring you on. How you doing, man?
I'm really good. How are you, Khalil?
Good. You know, can't complain. Excited for people to just get some advice from you. I know we had a good conversation, I believe it was last week. And
Yes, sir.
I'm always interested to speak to professionals like you, just because I know I always get excited hearing from you all, because you get to see people live out, you know, their dream, and no matter where they are at the point, they're still living it, and it's nice to see the the journey from whatever point they are at, because then you get to see and watch what they become, which is really, really cool. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here, and yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, and it's an honor to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, of course. So I guess we can get started then. If we want to tell them a little bit about yourself, who you are, a little backstory, and maybe how you got into art, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is James Overstreet. I'm currently residing in Cheyenne, Wyoming, but I'm back and forth between Colorado, the Denver area. So I'm in between there a lot, and for the most part, I am mostly an oil painter. That's pretty much all I have time for. But I also do murals and printmaking and ceramics. Pretty much adverse in everything. But for the most part, painting is my passion, and um, yeah, that's pretty much what I do for my practice currently. And started art at a young age with my mom. It was just her and I for a long time by ourselves, and she, we did a lot of crafty stuff, painting pre-made ceramics and stuff like that, or doing little art projects here and there. And I think that's what really fueled me becoming the artist I am today. Went to started my college career at Laramie County Community College in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and then proceeded to get my bachelor's in fine arts at Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design in Lakewood, Colorado.
Yeah, and can you tell us a little bit about how you enjoyed yourself when you first started as a painter, painting with your mom, and how that impacted you and the artist you are today?
Yeah, I think our time together creating, and it was a special bonding moment, between her and I. And it was just like a time to create, and a time to just, have fun and, not worry about outcomes. It was a bonding moment between us that I think that really brought her and I together. And how I think that reflects into what I do today and how I become an artist is, it seems that I'm always based around community. And growing up, it was making comic books or crazy silly drawings in between classes, passing a drawing to a friend and they add to it, pass it back. That was grade school through high school. And meeting individuals that also are creatives. And after high school, it was me and just a few very close friends. We were very interested in painting, and we would meet up every night. We would maybe party a little bit, skateboard throughout the day, but at night it was about painting and just having fun and just really getting involved in the medium itself. And that progressed to painting live at concerts, and then wanting to learn more about skill and technique and the history of art, and then going to college from there. And it's always about community and having others inspire you or push you. I'm going to say the word healthy rivals. I think that's always a great practice, is having a close friend be like, oh, holy cow, how'd you do that? And you're like, oh, I'm gonna one up this person in a good way, and you guys just feed off each other back and forth. And having the close community has brought up to me wider community and inspiring others, and being involved with actual maybe centers, or like art centers or community centers. That way you can work with kids and adults and just other people that want to learn about artwork, or take some time off of their busy life and just escape and get some artwork done. So it's all about community, and I think that community started with me and my mom together.
For sure. And I know a lot of people sometimes are scared to get out there and maybe nervous to just work with other people, and may feel like, they're better working alone. What's some of your advice to them of how to get out there and maybe how to find those communities? And I guess more so, I know you talked about it a little bit a second ago briefly, but just truly like how important that is to be surrounded by people that are like-minded.
So I think a lot of artists, we use the word introvert, and for the most part, I think a lot of us are, but a lot of us are also extroverts. And how to get out of out of that in the first place is, I think the passion to want to grow is there in all of us, um, and just, I guess the easiest thing I can say is just go out there and do it and try it. And it's gonna be nerve wracking. And even today for me, it's like, oh hey, there's a gallery opening. Guess I'm gonna go by myself, and it's like it's very scary. It's intimidating, and for the most part, like especially if I'm going by myself, I just look at the art and then I'm like, okay, everyone else is talking. I guess I'll, I try to at least talk to one person at least, and then
Mhm.
usually when that happens, then it's like, oh, it opens the door. They're like, hey, come look at this, or come talk to this person, and it kind of just opens the door. So all I got to say is, like, even if you're scared out of your mind, is just to do it. Or if you see a workshop or some kind of event that is local, like a lot of places have First Fridays, just make it a point to put it on your list to go and do it. Set a goal of going out there and try to do it. And going to a First Friday versus taking a workshop is a lot different, because a workshop, you can, you're going there to learn a new technique or a skill and talk to like-minded individuals that are passionate about what you do. And even to this day, I try to make it a point at least once a year to go work with someone around the world, another artist, that way to broaden my horizons and continue my self growth. Otherwise, we're going to be continuing to be in a little box. Our artwork may never, progress past one certain stage or something if we're not working with others and passing around ideas or taking in new information. Hope I didn't go off tangent there, but
No, you didn't at all. I love when you and other creatives are able to just like let their mind flow, especially about topics like this where people can definitely benefit from. And I 100% understand exactly what you're talking about. Felt like I was and still am going through that myself, because often I will just sit in this studio, make music, and it's great music, but if you're not connecting with others, how, besides like social media, of course, social media gets you out there, but that face card of being in public, of people really being able to like gain relationships and truly pushing yourself to put yourself out there, even though it's uncomfortable, is so important. And oftentimes it is scary, scarier than most probably would, imagine, to like just go out there and talk to them. But if you realize that a lot of people that are there at those events probably have the same thoughts that you are having, you know?
exactly, exactly.
And so if you just, make the first move and just talk to someone, just say anything, it kind of is like a domino effect, kind of like what you're saying, and it would just get you talking to more people because you'll feel more and more confident, like, okay, that didn't go as bad as I expected, and it
Yeah,
just
exactly.
uh,
Um, and I guess to add to that as well is, and this isn't everyone's path, but eventually, like if you are starting getting your name out there and being recognized, like you're most likely going to be asked to be, say, like an interview like we're doing now,
mhm.
or sit on a panel, or you're going to have to, like, maybe you get your first show at a gallery. You're most likely to have to go there and give an artist talk. So the more you go out there and practice, the more ready you're going to be when something like that comes along, and you'll be ready to do it. And even those times are scary too. I think I told you I was a little nervous being on here. So,
For
um,
sure.
yeah, the feeling never goes away, but it becomes more comfortable and easier to navigate. And the more you'll be able to enjoy yourself and grow as a person as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And talking about your growth as a person and an artist, how did you grow as an artist from what you were creating first when you were younger to what you're creating now? I guess if you want to talk about that
Hmm.
evolution and why and how that changed.
Okay. The first thing that pops in my head related to this topic is, before everything was especially, but all before college, everything was imaginative, crazy, epic, all these crazy comic splash panels, just like a lot going on. And I'm also maybe going to bring up psychedelics, and those had a lot of crazy play, and very crazy, bizarre. Let me see if I can just turn this over here. Maybe you can see that.
Hmm.
But just very bizarre imagery and kind of crazy. So sadly, once I started going to school and developing more realistic qualities and learning about the medium itself and the history of art, um, I slowly began no longer being able to create like that. It was more of like, I need something in front of me now. I need a reference. I need something from life or a photo. And sadly, the imaginative section has diminished, but also like, I think painting from life is also very special. So that's the difference between what I was creating in the past to what I'm creating now. Is I create something that's more representational of everyday life, versus out of my head. And I would love to go back and explore that stuff, but for some reason there's some kind of block there, and it doesn't flow as like it used to. But every once in a while, if I'm on a phone call, like being stuck on hold with like a phone company or something, I'll start doing some doodles on the side of the papers. And that kind of going off topic here, but I think that's where a real artist's true consciousness is in their doodles. Is they're not thinking about anything. It's all coming out fresh and subconsciously. And I think a real artist artwork is when in their doodle state. Went off topic a little bit, but yeah. So that's the difference. Is it's no longer as crazy and imaginative as it used to be. It's a lot more honed in and representation of life.
Yeah, for sure. And Namaria asked, what made you choose oil paint over any other medium?
So I did acrylic for a very long time, maybe about 6 years before I was brave enough to switch over to oil paint. And once I did, immediately fell in love. First of all, versus acrylic, the oil has such a more richer look to it and vibrant. When I versus acrylic, and this is just my personal preference. When I see acrylic, especially when it's really thick, it dries really plasticky. It looks kind of fake. Versus if it's next to an oil painting, the oil painting it shines. It's vibrant. And just some on the characteristics is acrylic dries way too damn fast. I can go take a lunch break and leave all my paints, all my brushes dirty, and then when I'm using oil paints, and I can snack, maybe watch an episode of Star Trek or something. Come back to my oil paint, and it's all ready to go. It's still wet. It's still good. If I mix up acrylic paint, I have to use it right then and there. You don't get a chance to take any breaks necessarily. There are things you can extend it, like slow drying, like stuff you can mix with your acrylic, but it's not the same.
For sure.
Yeah. The last thing on it is the way I've been painting the last few years is I paint really, really thick. And I pre-mix all of my hues and values and colors onto a palette. So I'll have like over 100 piles of paint, and then I can just go at it. I can't do that with acrylic because of the dry time, but with the oil, it can sit on my palette for a week or two, and I can really do the impasto kind of painting technique that I really enjoy to do.
Yeah. And can you talk about like the techniques you've learned since like diving into like oil painting, and like I guess how your old styles transferred into the new style that you're doing now?
Yeah. I want to say experimentation is key here. And controversial topic here is really getting to know your medium. And first off, I'll say this is gonna make some people angry, but I don't use pencil at all. I'm painting, so I'm going to be using paint the entire time. So when I'm doing my contours, I'm using paint. And there's several things that go with that. Is it builds your confidence, one, as an artist, getting to know your medium a little bit more. And there's a few things you learn more about your medium. So say you make a mistake on your contour, it's like, oh no, what do I do now? You can wipe it off. And that's like, oh, whoa, look what it did when I wiped it off. So I'm learning new properties about my medium when I'm sticking with my medium. If you used pencil beforehand, that's perfectly fine. I would just hope that anyone that is doing that, try to do it with the medium you're working with. So if it's with paint, it's because I think a lot of people use it as like, oh, I'm afraid to mess up a line or something, so I'm going to use pencil to sketch it out first. Well, just try the paint, because then it boosts your confidence. Okay, going back on track with techniques and stuff is, especially when I started painting, I would put my palette onto a canvas itself while I'm painting, like, say a still life. And as I'm going, the palette on the canvas is starting to take on some cool properties and becomes a painting in itself. And then once I finish my still life, I have all this leftover paint and I start playing with it. And I'm like, okay, what happens if I take a palette knife and spread it around? Or what happens if I add maybe, if I sprinkle some dirt or something into it, or try to blend it out as much as I can, or just having fun and experimenting. And that's where I'm learning new techniques. And those techniques I learn on my abstract canvas, I can then take over to my next representational painting. And I think that's where a lot of the skills that I do now, and why I really focus on the paint itself, comes from experimentation and having fun. That being said as well, is, I brought it up earlier, is work with other artists. If there's a badass painter on Instagram that you want to go work with, see if they teach workshops. And if they don't, be like, hey, what if I came and visited you for a few days? Like, are you available for that? Or if they teach a class, go take a class from them or something. Because you're going to learn a lot of new techniques, and that's going to everything's going to combine into your own practice. I think I am developing more of a style now, but for many years, I don't think I had a style. I think I'm pretty diverse on my painting in different ways. So maybe now, after about 15 years, maybe I am developing a style now. But who knows? That could change next year. I don't know.
For sure. And then a question from Somnio. They said, what is, in your opinion, the biggest struggle about becoming an artist?
Laziness. Going out and doing it. Just do it. Like, put in the time. Like, say you're like, you know what, I really want to learn how to do ceramics, and then you just keep putting it off. So if you keep putting it off, you're never going to get around to it. But if you put in an hour a day, you put in 15 minutes a day, if you put in 5 minutes a day, cumulatively over that month, that's hours you just put into it, versus like, oh, I'm going to do it later. So I think I'm a busy person, but I also think I'm really lazy still. I need to just doing it. Go and do it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. We were just literally talking about this like before too. We hopped on stream, and I deal with that as well. Of just, it's like you constantly battling with your mind of like giving you excuses or outs of not to do something.
Yes.
Like, for example, I was at the gym the other day and I was absolutely like just crushed from the day before. I was running a lot and playing soccer, and I was doing legs the next day, and I went through the whole workout, didn't want to like really do the workout, but went through it. And the last like exercise was a superset, which is you do 2 exercises back to back for 1 set. And the whole time I was doing the first exercise, in the back of my head was like, oh, I don't need to do this one. Like, I've done so much already. Like, and it's crazy where your mind just starts like making excuses and giving yourself out. And the whole time I was like, oh, I guess I'm not going to do it. Like, I don't need to. Like, you're just making excuses. But right when I finished the first exercise, like, you know what, just do it. Because like you feel, I know myself, and I know if I don't do something and give myself an out, that then after you'll realize like, wow, you feel like so lazy. You really like, it's almost like then you start critiquing yourself and maybe talk down on yourself and know you can do better. And I like exactly what you're saying. I think laziness and just like giving yourself an out. And if you really want to get to where you want to go, you have to stop giving yourself an out, you know?
I completely agree. And 2 things on that is, and once you do it, you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You feel good. And sometimes you don't see those results right away, but maybe a week, 2 weeks. a month, a year, you're going to see results if you continue doing something. But also, I want to just say, sometimes it's okay to take a break too.
Hmm.
So even if you did not do that certain exercise, you know what? Don't beat yourself up about it either. But you will feel good
Hmm.
after you get done. Did you feel good after you
For
did it?
sure. Like I was like, of course my body was dead, but my mind was like, there you go, like way to push through it, because you push through it, and even if it's a 0.2% better that you got, like you got better, and
Exactly.
that's really, really important.
I like that.
And Adeline asked, what's your advice for people that want to start doing art? I stopped drawing 10 years ago, really want to go back to it, but I'm so demotivated because I feel already left behind.
Yeah, and it kind of expands on what we just said before. And don't feel behind, because there's artists that didn't start until they're in their 50s. So there's never a wrong time to start. And if you have a hiatus of a few years, a decade, that's perfectly fine too. You just pick up that pencil again when you're ready and get back at it. And one way I suggested doing that is, if you really want to get back into it, look at a local community center or like a community college or a college that's offering, say, a drawing class, because that gives you deadlines and projects and some bouncing around and like-minded people that are going to be in the same area as you. Some of them are going to be like, and then we're all at different skill levels too. So that's why it doesn't matter when you pick it up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely agree. And I feel like, in part of her question, it's probably a sense of like comparison too, to other people, because you may feel like, okay, now I'm left behind, and the reason you're feeling left behind is because you're looking at other people's work and you're seeing where they are, and then you look where you are and you compare yourself and you're like, okay, there's no point of doing it. And yeah.
And maybe this is a positive thing, is you could pick up your pencil today and start outselling me immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about luck and who you know. So even me, it's like, sometimes I'll look at, it's a roller coaster ride.
Mm-hmm.
It ebb and flows all the time. And I constantly look at people online and get nervous, or not nervous, but like, holy cow, these people are so good. How am I ever supposed to reach this?
Yeah.
And that's part of the roller coaster and how you deal with it.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask, like, I guess, how do you deal with comparisons, like on a day-to-day basis, especially going through social media as like a creative and artist? Like, how do you get past that hump of, not stopping once, or not necessarily not stopping, but not looking at yourself as less than when you see other people's work, if like there are people that you perceive as better than you, or
So that feeling will never go away, and that's something I think every artist, even the big artists, they feel it. I was taking a workshop before, and it was Jenny Morgan, who's an awesome painter, and she worked with Jenny Saville really closely for a long time. And even Jenny Saville was just like, I don't think I'm good enough. Like, why would anyone want to look at this? Why would anyone like buy this or think it's good art? And so everyone's doing it. And how I cope with it is, that's also the roller coaster ride. Not gonna lie, there's been a lot of times where I see other people's success, and then that puts me down, and it makes me not want to create as much anymore. And that's, sometimes you just got to turn that phone off. You gotta block some people out of your life, maybe temporarily, or just put them on mute for a little bit and just do it for yourself. Because once you get back in the groove, then you get the good positive feelings back up. And then, maybe 6 months, you'll look at someone online and you're like, what? Not again. You lose the motivation.
For sure. But it's funny that, like you said, just like put the phone down and, not pay it any attention and kind of just like focus on you. That's literally how I was feeling last night. Like I've been like in this past week in this rut, I think, of comparison with like people around me, and feel like I'm right at that door of everything, just like, because everyone always says, especially in the music industry, it's like once you put that foot in the door, everything just starts flowing. Like it's just a rush. And when I see like people around me, it's like it's starting to flow, and I'm like, why aren't I there? You know, like everyone I feel like deals with that.
Yeah.
And what helped me last night is exactly what you were saying. So I can attest to what you're saying. I literally cleaned up the studio, like made the wire, like put the wires like away, like made sure I think also your workspace needs to be clean.
Exactly. Exactly. Just
Yes.
about this. That was a great
Yes.
idea of cleaning that area.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because like once I clean, because I had like wires all over the place, and so that thought process in my head, or my thought process in my head was just like, okay, like I don't have the places that these people have. Like you become like less thankful for things you have because of how you create your environment. And once I like just decluttered, really cleaned it, I took a step back. It's like, why am I not thankful for, what I have? And that immediately like helps with the comparison for people, because it's when you're thankful for where you are, what you have, you'll then appreciate it more, which will then allow you to create more, which will then allow you to get to the point you want to be. But if you're never thankful at what you have, and you're always comparing yourself, and that's demotivating you, then how do you expect, to get to where you want to be?
Yeah. I 100%. That was a great um, analogy there, and um, the, the those feelings are going to come. Just how you deal with them is the way to do it. And I think creating an organized space is a great way to do it. And also, I'll add on to it is find a separate hobby too, or something that you can go escape for a little bit. Maybe that's video games, or for me, I like to mountain bike. And if I'm having a really bad time, not just with art, but with other things in my life, if I go take a mountain bike ride, go ride 10 miles, when you get done, it's just like the exercise you brought up earlier. It's like you feel refreshed, you feel
Hmm.
rejuvenated, you feel inspirational. So if you're feeling like that, put whatever is aside that's making you feel bad, clean up your environment, and that's mentally and physically, and go take a walk around the park or something.
For sure, 100%. And then going to some more questions people had. Daru said, how long does it take you to finish a painting, or do you just take your time until you're done?
um, I'm gonna use an experience that I had recently, and that really started making me thinking about it. Is I was asking some other artists for advice when we did like a little pop-up show, and I was like, hey, here's my new work, my new series I kind of did. What do you think I should price it at? Like, what's it like? Tell me anything. And one of the artists, they said, well, how many hours did you put into it? And to me, it's like, well, there's a lot of things that I don't like going off of hourly, because first of all, I've been doing this for a really long time, and the more you do it, the more you practice, the faster and better the quality gets. So the painting right behind me took me less than 2 weeks to do, and this is taller than me. But that's years and years and years of practice to get up to that point. And also, there's a lot of things involved. Is researching your is the photo shoot I did for this, that took time.
Hmm.
Thinking about the ideas, and also, I make a few brush strokes, and then I go sit down across the room and I look at it. That to me is also, it is part of the creation time. Kind of think I think I lost what the original question was.
No, they're
But
just saying like how long it takes you to
yeah,
finish painting.
yeah. I think we talked right before this too. Is I just busted out a 4 by 4 foot painting in one day.
Hmm.
And it's just practice.
Yeah.
The faster you go, and someone who's just starting out in their first couple of years, the same painting for me, years, it would not look like this, number one, and second of all, it probably would have taken a few months to complete.
Yeah, 100%. And to go, I guess, off of that point as well, when you're talking about you don't do hourly anymore, how did you figure out how to price your work? Yeah, and are you still dealing with that right now?
Oh yeah, that's a horrible subject for me. I for murals, I like to do square footage, but most I like to work around the budget too. If it's like, hey, I'm doing $20 a square foot for a mural, and they're just like, oh, I don't really have that. I'm like, okay, well, let's see if we can, like, maybe take out some of the detail and fit it into your budget. And I kind of do that with my paintings too. Is I kind of do have like a set price right now. I kind of go off of square inches, but then it's also like, hey, I'm doing a portrait. Oh, you want to add in your other 5 family members? Well, maybe we might have to add it. We might have to add a zero onto that. It's constantly changing for me, and I'm looking at other people in in my local environment, and I think I definitely maybe undersell myself, but I also want it to be affordable for a lot of people too. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like everyone struggles with that. And one advice I think someone gave that I saw, or I think I was talking to a while ago, was saying to kind of like look at people who are doing your type of work and like look at what they're pricing their work, so you kind of know the market value essentially. Maybe some advice as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
but are they more popular than you?
yeah,
Are they
yeah, it's
more well
true.
known?
Exactly.
That plays a factor too. So
100%.
yeah.
100%. And then Namiria had another question. They asked, how long, or wait, I just read that one. What advice can you give as a traditional artist in an era that highly values digital art, especially on social media?
Hmm. Well, so I'm a traditional artist, obviously. I do play around, and I use Procreate Photoshop to help get my photo references if I'm working from a photo or something like that. So I do use those tools, and I think every artist should. And I'm gonna say AI as well, is I know a lot of people are now like incorporating it and using it to get photo references from, or incorporate it into their work somehow. So I think it's okay to use those tools as a traditional artist. Cause we'll say Rembrandt. I'm sure he would have used a photo, and worked from the photo. I'm sure he would have 100% done that. So it's our times, but honestly, might make some people mad here, but I personally like I'd rather see a real painting versus digital work. That's just me personally, not saying that digital does not have its place, but I want to see the medium. I want to see the brushstrokes. I want to see how the person did this. And that's with using like drawing with charcoal or something like that too. I like the physical medium. I like to be involved with it. I want to be a mess. I want to be I want to be covered in it when I'm done with it. With digital, okay, some pros and cons. I don't have to set up all my paints. I don't have to mix 200 colors for a half a day. So there's a bonus there. But you're also you're cramped. You're in the space. You're not. Your whole body isn't involved. So as a traditional artist, keep it up. And a few things is learn both mediums. And then when a client comes by and says, "I want a painting of my dog. I don't want it digital," you will have the skill set to be able to make that painting. And I think that's a good way to go to, and it's what you like. I guess I'll end on this for that question, is why I'm painting in 2023 instead of, I'm making about the medium. I'm making it visible that I'm using paint, that I'm exploring the properties of it. Thick paint, beautiful colors, and when you look at my work, you're like, oh, that's a painting. Instead of this will make some other people mad, is flat painting. Like, if you're going to be a flat painter, which there's amazing people that don't make it thick, they paint flat, but why not just do a photograph at that point, or why not just work digitally at that point? That's my personal bias on that, is when I'm painting, I'm making sure you're going to know it's a painting.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. And to like also add on Namira's question as well, I think, yeah, social media definitely values digital art, but they values traditional artists too. And I think there's enough room in each of those spaces to enter. So don't feel like social media doesn't value you or value your work, because it definitely does. If you see like on our page too, we post a lot of traditional painters, and they definitely get a lot of love on social media. So, and then go ahead, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just gonna say, do what makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Somnio I'll get back to your question because I know you asked one before, and I want to get to people who haven't asked, but I'll make sure to come back. Danny said, "Would you say that learning to sell yourself is as important as learning your medium?"
Um, do we mean like making? Do we mean like selling out? Is that what we
I,
mean?
I think more so like she might be asking like because as a artist or any creator in the world of social media, you have to learn how to sell yourself essentially. Like not sell out, but like
Oh,
you are a product as well. You know what I mean? And kind of like how to sell that product. You know, I don't think she's more so saying on the sell out side.
yeah. On the social media side, which I'm not good at, is maybe like, yeah, maybe making a character and playing that character like fully, like, and then when I say character, maybe just like make like really confident and excited, and when you put yourself online, like making a brand of yourself to be able to push your work and stuff, so people associate not just your work but also a face of you and what like demeanor and stuff you carry.
Mm-hmm.
um, um, and just we talked about this before we went live, is putting the time in to on the social media and marketing and all that other stuff, which I am horrible at. I'd rather just be in the studio painting and not have to do any of all the other stuff, answering emails, going and looking for work and stuff like that. So yeah, it's important. It's
Yeah.
honestly, it's more important than the studio time. It's 90%
100%.
marketing, 10% marketing, and 10% studio time.
Yeah, I swear I hear that from every artist that is a professional artist. Is they say the same thing. It's like they always say it's 90% marketing, 10% studio. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's yeah, exactly. You know, it's like it's true though, and I am 100% Danny going through the same thing of you just want to create, but if you're creating and not creating value in a market for yourself, how can someone then, you know, see what you are truly valued and see who you are, you know? And yeah, it's definitely not easy and it can be frustrating, but if you want to get to where you want to be, you have to learn how to sell yourself and sell your product. For
Yeah,
sure.
and to continue that is, I like a balance between local community and online community, and I also like to do locally. Like I teach painting classes, and that's can be at art centers or local college, and or going and doing something like at a school, and that includes college or grade school or anything like that. I think that's also part of selling yourself and getting yourself out there, and it also rewards you, as well. And it really stinks when you don't get you put in the energy, especially on social media, and you're not getting the energy back that you would like. It can be very disheartening, but just don't look at the numbers. Just keep putting yourself out there.
100%. And another question that Poos had, they said, for music, I use theory, so music theory, as a tool, but not a master. Do you have a similar kind of thing?
Say that one more time.
So they're saying in music, there's a thing, I don't know, are you a musician as well?
Not just all self-taught.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So obviously, music there is music theory, which kind of is the blueprint of music and basically the explanation of why things work and how to put certain chords together, notes, why these chords work together, and all the scales and stuff. So it's important to learn that. But they're saying they use that as a tool, but not the master. So I guess they're saying like, yes, they use that tool, but that's not the only way they create.
Yes,
is there something like that?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I love this, and I've been having this conversation a lot in the last month for things that have been going on. I believe in a very strong foundation, and it's not necessarily rules, but theories. And that's when I brought up about using a pencil, or I'll use the example of using a projector. I use a projector in my work, but I did not start using a projector until after I graduated with my bachelor's. I learned how to do all that stuff beforehand, because I'm not always going to be able to have a projector. So I think having the strong foundation of like, hey, don't use black in your painting, or I really push that in my beginning classes, is don't use black, make your own black. But after this class, in your journey, if you want to use black out of the tube, do it. But we're going to understand how to make our own black and why we make our own black, and not just use straight up pigment out of a tube, but how to mix our own. That way we have a foundation of these theories. So 100%, I am all in agreement on that, and everybody is different, and you don't have to agree, which is perfectly fine. But you need to learn those foundations before you can break those rules and understand why you're breaking those rules.
Yeah, agree. That was a great question, Pooh. Honestly, yeah, really good question. And back to Somnio, they said, is there an artist that you admire, something like a role model?
Yeah. First off, I want to say close friends. Those are the best role models, because you feed off of each other and inspire each other. Artists that are current, like still alive today. Alyssa Monks is, I think, the best painter that we have today, and I've worked with her a few times, taken some workshops from her, and huge inspiration. And yeah, if you're putting that in, yeah, she'll come up. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, fire. Yeah, you can keep going. I'll just show
Yeah. And then another great painter, Eloy Morales, over in Spain. Phenomenal painter as well. On my current Instagram story, I just posted this yesterday, a picture of Las Meninas by Diego Velázquez, Baroque painter. That painting is the most influential painting and amazing painting of all time. I believe it was made in the 1400s, and it's such a good painting that Picasso ended up doing 50 variations of it, some of them like realistic, and by the end of it, it was like so abstract. But if you go in Spain and you go to the Picasso Museum, he has the Las Meninas room where all those paintings are in there. Like,
how do you spell it?
LASMENINAS, and I'm a horrible speller, but I think that's pretty close.
Yeah, that I'm always here to. Why is this not going? Yeah, but you're good. You can keep going.
Yeah, as you're looking it up, Las Meninas is like a self-portrait, but also click the first one there. Click the first one. Yep, that one. So Diego's painting the canvas right there. That's already like a crazy mind-blowing thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also, is he painting us, the viewer, looking at them?
Yeah,
or is he painting the whole entire room? And for that time period, crazy. And this painting is like, it's not 20 feet tall, but it's huge. It's maybe like 15 feet tall. Just a crazy, beautiful self-portrait, but also painting. This is a king and queen of Spain and their family. Their daughter is the little girl right in front that everyone's around. This is a mind-blowing painting.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like, because I feel like some people are like looking at his painting, like these people in the back, but then some people are also like almost looking at the viewer, and and obviously then that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and like I said, Picasso did 50 variations of this painting. So this is to me one of the reasons I wanted to get better at skill and technique and delve into painting itself, is once I like saw this in a book, and then seeing this in real life was absolutely just like a dream come true.
For sure. And do you want to talk about some of your work?
Sure.
Maybe I really like this one, the Sir Smokes a Lot. This one's crazy to me. Just like the coloring and all that. Can you tell like your, I guess, inspiration behind it? How did you do it? What? How long did it take? Yeah, all that stuff.
Okay, so do you know where Sir Smoke a Lot comes from?
No.
Okay, so first of all, just a hilarious movie, Dave Chappelle's Half Baked.
Oh, I have seen that movie, but I haven't seen that movie in like it's been like since I was in high school or middle school. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this is Sir Smoke a Lot comes on and does like a little rap video like near the beginning of the movie, and me and my friends, we would just be on the floor laughing. It's hilarious, and put the rap song on my it was like my ringtone for like a good year. So, like back in the day, like when I was in my early 20s, and I've always wanted to paint it, and so 420 was coming up earlier this year, and I was like, Perfect timing. Perfect. Let's do it. But I'm so glad I put it off for so many years because I don't think I had the technique and skill to be able to paint it like it is now. Like,
Mhm.
look at all those brushstrokes, and this is when I get really excited about painting. So this is a 18 by 24 inches when it was the original. This is a
Mhm.
print that you have on, but that's okay. Um, from across the room, 20 feet away, you're like, oh wow, is that a photograph?
Oh wow.
Then you get 10 feet away, and you're like, oh whoa, something's going on. And then you want to go up and get close, and then as a viewer, you are rewarded when you get up close with all the brushstrokes, all the color,
Mm.
everything that's going on. So I think that's what makes a really great painting is being able to look at it from the 20 feet, 10 feet, and 2 feet mark. And Yeah, so it's just a still from it's just a little
Yeah, yeah,
fan made thing from the movie. But
yeah.
yeah, hilarious character. Dave Chappelle's off.
Is that the movie where they're in like college or at Harvard? Is that the one?
No, no, oh no, did I get the name wrong? Oh no, I hope I didn't get it wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I probably said it wrong. Sorry. But no, it's the movie where their friend gets he accidentally kills a cop's horse and gets put in jail, and they have to go sell weed to bail him out of jail.
Okay, you
Uh,
are talking about the right movie. You're talking about
okay,
the right movie.
okay,
I'm
and
thinking
that
of a
is
different one.
yeah, no, that's a great movie too, where they smoke their friend's ashes in the weed and they
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
classes. That one's great too. But yeah, so yeah,
Well,
just a hilarious movie that
yeah,
I've been wanting to paint for a while.
for sure. And what was the hardest part about this painting?
Mm. The hardest thing was getting the motivation to do it. So as you, I think a lot of people get stuck up on painting portraiture, and they're just like, oh, it's too hard. It's not going to look like this person. Well, if you break down everything you paint into shapes, color, and value, it doesn't matter if you're painting a person, a chair, a building, a landscape. Just if you break everything down to those few components, what they basically are, shape, value, and color,
Mhm.
it's all the same. So honestly, like the hardest thing for me was the motivation to get and paint it.
Yeah,
When I paint now, it just flows. It's fantastic. So there wasn't any, I didn't have any issues when it came to it. And to me, that's like painting is my spirituality.
mhm.
Not religious, but I am spiritual. So, and painting is my religion. So,
Yeah,
when I
awesome.
get, yeah, when I paint, it's, yeah, I don't get really frustrated anymore. I used to be like, why isn't it like this? But after you practice and practice and practice, it flows a lot better.
For sure. And I've seen some of these paintings you've done before, and they're just so unique to me, honestly. Like, it's so trippy. What was like your idea? Because I guess this is almost like a series, no? Like,
Yeah,
what was your
yeah.
idea behind this like blurring, abstract, but not? I know you. That's something you also have talked about too. Like, some people think you're a like realism artist, but like you look at yourself as abstract. Maybe you
Yeah, I
can
think
like
the way
talk
I
about.
paint, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe you
the
can
way,
talk about, I guess, this whole series and then you as an artist.
yeah. Okay, so I was wanting to just experiment with the paint itself. That's where the series came from. And it's just like, maybe like 5 paintings, and it was techniques that I learned from other people's workshops that I took and like wanted to incorporate it, but also the stuff that I've been learning for years. Like if you look at the background here on this one that you're looking at, it was a palette to begin with.
Mhm.
So it was just a palette I had left over from another painting, and she was like, hey, let's paint on top of it. So that's kind of where my portion comes in. This kind of is a mash between I think his name is Joey Unley, and he really paints like really thick portraiture. So I kind of wanted to, or really like he takes palette knives and makes portraitures out of
Yeah.
it. So I wanted to try it, um, and so here's my nerd part coming out. This is actually a Star Trek character. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that all of them are Star Trek characters in
Yeah,
the series,
yeah.
but I just wanted to use their. It doesn't matter. Like if a viewer doesn't know who it
Mhm.
is, it doesn't matter. This is my own personal preference.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so this is LeVar Burton from Star Trek and also Reading Rainbow.
Hmm.
Um, but you're not supposed to recognize it. It's
Yeah.
like, and also the blurring technique is Gerhard Richter mixed with Jenny Morgan and every other artist that has done it. So
Yeah.
that's something I've done in the past, but I'm also incorporating myself into it. And I wanted to put the Mario elements into it. I think that first one had King Koopa in it. So it's all,
Yeah.
no, you're good. You're good. It was all experimentation. Um, and that's where like, if you spark that experimentation, then it leads you to the next project, to the next project, to the next project, to the next project.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's crazy, like, because it's the blurring technique is actually insane. Like, I would honestly assume that was done in like Photoshop or something.
And that's where, and I think that is actually really hard for a lot of people, and it was really hard for me at first. Is so first part I do is I paint it really, really nice and realistic, for the most part, as realistic as I can do, and letting go of making a nice painting and being able to smear it. That's the hard part on those, but I've been doing that for quite a while now, where that's like the fun part for me. It's like, oh, here we go, now we get to mess it up. But when I first started it, it was just like, I can't do that. I just spent a really long time on this.
Yeah, for sure.
But
yeah, it's really, really cool. And then I guess maybe we could show another one. What's your favorite one on these prints that you've done?
Go to the gallery real fast and do current works. You know what? I'm gonna have to do the self portraits. Probably those two right there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's the painting that's behind me. I think these are just my favorites in regards to being like, I think this was 2018, I believe. I really, like, as an artist, like, seeing myself grow and pushing myself more. I think these start really coming visible in that regard, and moving away from flatter painting and making it about the paint itself with thick, vibrant, noticeable brush strokes, and making it be about the paint. Right, and the painting is titled Bastard. So I think it's some stuff that I was going through that kind of like really got me through emotional times as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
How did you do this like reflection? The reflection looks crazy, bro.
Okay, let's go back to the shapes, values, and hues. So these paintings, they're only 2-layered paintings. I have the red underpainting underneath, and then I just place one brush stroke and I leave it alone. I don't touch it. So there's only 2 layers on this piece. So, this is getting really intensive, and this is a technique I learned from another artist. But I print out the photo reference I'm working from, I put a plastic sleeve on it, and then I color match every single different color that's on there. So there was over 100 colors on my palette in big, thick messes. So if you see the reflection, it's actually darker than my actual face on there. So I just had to make a darker value compared to the face, and just years of mapping out and painting all comes together for each new painting I do, and that's exactly what it is here. It was I've always been fascinated by reflections too. So yeah, it's just I did it. That's how I did it.
Yeah, no,
Practice.
it looks, this thing is absolutely insane. I love exactly what you're saying too, is like each new painting that you do is a culmination of everything you've learned previously.
Yep,
and
it's just a practice for your new painting.
Exactly. I think that's honestly a great way to look at it and to explain it for sure. And then I guess before I let you go, I would love if you have like any advice for artists coming up, maybe some struggles you've went through that you've overcame. All the above. I think it would be nice for them to hear things like that about, like, you obviously are at this level now where you can paint stuff like this. You sell commissions, full-time artists. Like, you obviously went through struggles like everyone typically, for the
Yeah.
most part, goes through. Can you
Yeah.
maybe talk about that and some inspiration behind it?
Yeah. The I struggle with this still to this day is don't be a dick. To remember that everyone's at different skill levels, and a beginner painter can pick up a brush and sell and can sell more than me, and that's perfectly fine. And if they do that, that's so awesome that they found that capability. But just be nice to everyone, and if you don't get opportunities, don't take it out on other people. Don't be mad at the person that got the opportunity or the person that gave the opportunity. Is there's going to be other ones, and the art world is small. And if you bicker with another one, it's gonna escalate and be all over, and people might not want to work with you. So just keep a smile. Don't let other people bother you, and just remember to be just a nice person. And those things will start coming to you. And put in that practice. Don't give up. I'm not skill wise. I still have a mountain to climb personally. And I might not ever reach my goal of where I want to be as a painter, but I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to keep putting in that time and effort. So just practice, be a good person, and work and find your community and grow with them.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of the stream today and helping artists, because I know they appreciated it a lot. Even the musician in here appreciated your words and advice on creativity. So just want to say thank you again, and thank you to everyone who watched part of the stream. Thank you to everyone who's going to watch after the stream and come back and listen. I hope you guys can get and take in all the advice that was given. And look forward to more streams in the future. So you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and hope you have a wonderful weekend. And we'll be back next week. All right. See you guys.